Do you realize that we are sitting thousands of miles away from each other, or 5 minutes away from each other? And Kenny fixed my hearing aids, and I can hear you through this machine. Today I would like to speak of miracles, and the miracle is this country. You know, we as a culture of humanity are afraid of saying nice things to each other. I think it's time to drop that barrier and say what we feel. Let me begin with America. I love America. I was so lucky to be able to come here. When Hitler came to Vienna, my father knew enough about having to get out, but we couldn't get out. Panama took us. But Panama taught me about democracy because all colors were there. My first best friend, Lois Lee, was Chinese, and her parents and mine had the same background, refugees. And Lois and I spoke a lot about the prejudice against being different. And when Hitler came, and I was warned not to go into the street and to be afraid of everybody, they were right. But I was 8 years old, and I knew I could change the world. That if they knew us, they wouldn't hate us. And so I always loved drawing, and I had a wonderful teacher from first, second, and third grade. And her full name was Lady Rosa Vogel, lady teacher. In German, it sounds even more impressive. And she said, never copy. Only draw what you feel. Never do other people's work. Learn how to do your own. And so it was natural for me to feel, when I was 8 years old, and I was told to be afraid. But if they knew me, they wouldn't hurt me, because I would draw their picture, and then they'd be my friend. Well, people still hate each other, but I became a good artist because of that. It paid me back. Huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden door, and I am alive because of the Statue of Liberty, because America exists. I would like this session to be a thank you to all of you who allow me to be here. To all of you, from the garbage collector to the airplane pilot, to everybody, thank you for America, because all of you came here from another country. None of you except Native Americans, the Indians, were here. And let's remember, we did not welcome them, even though they welcomed us. We have to fix that. A lot of things we have to fix, but easily. All we have to do is to be willing to say, thank you, America. You allowed me to be here. What can I do for you? Let us praise this country because it's ours. And if it's not ours, you will do what we've done. You pay Social Security. You pay your taxes. You work and earn a living and continue creating my country. Our country. Okay. It's not his legal birthday, but he always said when America rescued him from concentration camp, when those soldiers opened the doors of his concentration camp and filled out paperwork so he could enter the United States of America, and he could have a family, my brother and me, when he married, and my mother, and he produced two people, Kenny, who's working with me, and me, who's working with him. I just want to say thank you, my country, because I treat you with love and gratitude. When Eric was Eric was put into the first concentration camp when he was 16 years old. And there were many others. They kept themselves alive because they found under the ground, they found potatoes which had frozen during the winter. Because Europe had many wars, much more than we have here. We are unique. And they would dig up the potatoes, and they had pot-belly stove in the middle of the barrack, and they would put the rotten potato against it until it fell off to be ready to be eaten. And so Kenny began a program where on Liberation Day, which is the 5th of May, we eat potatoes. Kenny, could you pass it around? Or should you get up and take?
Well, do you want to introduce our guests now? This might be a good time.
I'd love to. Okay, be introduced. But the way in which we met is also amazing. On this side,
do you want to bring them over? Do you want to bring them over to you?
Yep. Arise. No, both of you, but one at a time. You were in the corner, so I brought you first.
Okay.
Tell us
There's two stories.
I'm so sorry. Oh, it's happening a lot. A lot. Okay.
Okay.
Are we frozen now, folks? Are we okay? Somebody just let us know.
Can I talk about it? If I had anything bad to say about you, this would be the moment.
No,
But
I
I have nothing bad to say.
Okay.
You're good.
All
I
right.
think you're good, yeah.
So,
He has photographed Jesse as a child and us whenever we went on a trip. And occasionally he sends me 12 years ago, 5 years ago. And I sit there and the tears come because he chronicled my family and brings me back.
If I could interrupt for a moment, a number of people are asking for Hernan to say what he said again.
Okay.
Because the signal stopped.
All right. Well, I'm very honored to be here today, especially on this day, and I will share very briefly the story of my grandparents and how they came to be here, and how I'm the child
Please.
of immigrants and refugees. So on my Italian side of my family, which is my mom's side, my grandfather and my grandmother, you could say, came to the United States as for a better opportunity for work and for a better life here, for more economic possibilities. And that's what brought them here to the United States. And my grandfather was a sanitation man. You mentioned sanitation workers earlier, and he worked for the sanitation department and provided a good living for his family doing that. My father's side of the family is different. My Spanish family were refugees from Franco's regime in Spain. So my grandfather had to flee from Spain he had actually been arrested and was sentenced to be executed by the regime because he was a teacher and a principal and his school was not teaching the party line. And so it's a long story, but he was able to escape with the help of some of his former students, and he eventually came to the United States. Then several years later, my Spanish grandmother and her children, including my dad, who was a young child, they eventually fled to the United States, where they were able to have a much better and safer and prosperous life. And so that's why I'm here today. I'm Hernan Poza III. So my grandfather, Senior, fled from Franco, my dad as well as a young child, and then I was very blessed to be raised here in this country. So that's what brings me here, and I'm very honored to be here on this day where we're recognizing Eric's tremendous journey. And I'll also say it's been such a pleasure to be part of your extended family. So
Yes, and to have given me so many memories of it.
it's my pleasure, my pleasure.
You know, this is what America is allowed to be. And I'm so grateful.
Now we can introduce our other
We
other visitor tonight.
We shall
So-
bring her next.
Okay, so next will be.
Thank you, Hernan.
Thank you.
We love you.
Love you too.
We have another super
Hi.
special gift.
This is another incredible gift to me. How did I?
Reconnect.
Oh,
Mom, say something?
yeah.
We're back. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Yes,
Okay.
Peter, if you could start again.
Sure. So I heard that there's a Lee Winters who's watching today, so I want to say thank you for writing that article on Long Beach Facebook page and introducing me to Hetty and this incredible woman and this lovely family. It's really been a special part of my journey here. My family history goes back to Austria also. Both my parents, as children, left Austria through the Kindertransport. They met in England, they fell in love, and in '48 they decided to go to Israel because the Blitz in London wasn't crazy enough. They wanted to find more stress in their life, and they went right in. My mother, who spoke German, was in the intelligence forces of Israel, and my dad was an engineer, and he helped build some of the first planes for Israel's Air Force. They got married as both being members of the Israeli Air Force, and then the story goes that they ended up back in England after a few years, and we were all raised in England, my brother, my sister, and myself, and we came to this country as as young kids in 1962. My father got a job here and was recruited by an American company. and we all grew up here in Queens, in Belrose. And I had a wonderful 40-year teaching career, teaching in Great Neck schools and at a yeshiva in Great Neck.
And he's a magician.
And I'm a magician. Hetty may tell you that I pulled about 30 feet of paper out of my mouth, and it's true. It's absolutely true. She has the paper somewhere. You put it in one of your special places. And I had the pleasure to interview Hetty for 2 episodes on a podcast we're doing out of the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center in Glen Cove. And meeting Hetty and talking to Hetty gave me the courage to continue on in that journey, and I'm continuing on to make more interviews and more podcasts, and it's an absolute thrill.
You know, in one of my paintings, there's a place called in Long Beach, the Crisis Center. And Greg, whom you'll meet later, he's my other son. He married my son,
Right.
and I think of him as my other son.
Beautiful.
But he said, come with me, there's going to be a meeting of the Crisis Center, and you'd be interested. So I went, and there was a young woman sitting there with a young man who had this gorgeous blonde hair, a swoop of blonde hair. And as I sat there envying, I found out she was a lieutenant general, a woman, a lieutenant general, and he was her wife. And I said to myself, they came out publicly when she retired from the army. And I thought, we integrated without knowing. We integrated into the United States Army as a female, married to a female, with the title of general. And I thought that means America can do anything.
Yeah, okay.
So I had to bring, but she said to me, I envisioned the universe as planning everything and knowing when certain people must meet others, and in the strangest way, throwing them at each other. And except for Kenny, who is mine from birth, each of you were thrown into my life with such skill and such joy.
And all the people who are watching the same thing, watching you right now from around the world.
Yes, yes. Because somebody invented machinery.
Yeah.
And I would just like to say, I am tired of all the bad things that people say about each other. I literally love people. And I was doing portraits for a long time, and one of them was a woman who unfortunately passed away. And I said, I want to make this drawing of the way you see yourself. And she said, no. I've always wondered how people see me. And we both decided we would try to figure out who we are through the eyes of other people.
Right.
And we found out if I am introduced to this person and I look at them kindly, they will be kind to me. If I look at them with anger, they'll be afraid of me. And it comes because Eric, whom we're honoring today on his birthday, when he said to me, if you're afraid of a dog, that dog will bite you. And so maybe we are the gods who create our world.
Beautiful. And Mom, there's a lot of feedback too. Should I share some of it?
Please.
Okay, well, Eileen just said, is there a way we can see Peter's book? So, Peter, if you could just hold it up and
Yes.
tell people how they can get it and just...
We only printed 25 copies of this for family, but I have the whole book as a PDF. So if you want to hear the story of my parents' love story and the Kindertransport, just shoot me an email, P for Peter, Suchman, SUCHMANN, at me.com, and I will gladly send you a PDF file you can download. It has the images and all the text of the story.
Oh my God.
We
Wow, so everybody could get that. Could you just repeat your email once more? So
Sure.
everybody
P.
gets it?
Suchman, P for Peter, S as in Sam, U-C-H, M for Mary, A for Andrew, N-N, Nancy, at me.com. And
Great.
I've had no problem emailing it as a PDF. Whatever program you have on your computer or iPad will open it easily. And it's a very personal story about the family, and that's why we never published it for Amazon. But it's in museums around the world, and it's in the hands of children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.
Okay,
Thank you
let
so
me
much.
let me make a correction.
Okay, just to let you know, we just have a couple minutes left, and there is a lot of feedback, a lot of shares.
Okay.
So, but go ahead, Mom. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Zuchman.
Zuchman, yes. I went to Israel to visit my father's side of the family, and I called them up and I said, "This is Peter Suchman from New York," and they hung up on me, and they kept hanging up on me. When I got home, I found out they don't know who a Suchman is. I'm a Zuchman.
Zuchman means man who searches.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm still searching.
Perfect. So, feedback from people. There was a lot of people saying, saying there's no audio and we lost the connection. There's a lot of that. Let me pull this up here. This will be easier. Martha says, "Happy Liberation Day." And Lee Winters says to Peter, "So good to see you and hear your story."
Thank you.
And Michelle says, "Fabulous story about your parents. I began in Belrose too."
Ah,
And Marcia says, "Thank you for sharing your story with all of us." And then a lot of people say no sound. And Martha says, "Thanks, Kenny." And Sandy, cousin Sandy says, "We are all here, me, Ismail, and Sophian, sending love to you, Ken, and everyone there. Hope to see you soon." And Michelle says, "Hetty, your face is so filled with love. I can't imagine you perceived any other way."
I agree.
Look who I'm with. How could I not be filled with love?
All right, I'm going to step out so you can finish, okay?
Oh, and Dory
Nope.
said, when Hetty called people in, "Arise," said the Queen. So, yes. Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
So, Hetty, do you want to say anything in closing on this 80th Liberation Day of Eric?
I want to speak about Eric.
Really?
Okay, because he was very good looking and all the women in camp loved him. And I didn't want that kind of a life. I wanted a home and children, and he couldn't be with somebody who women ran after. But we talked a lot. He would talk, and I would talk. And he worried because I was frightened. He said, "Why are you so frightened?" And I was so frightened because I came from Vienna of Hitler times, and we were in hiding. And when you are hiding, there's nothing more terrifying. Every step you hear, you feel they're going to take me away from my parents. And parents feel they'll take my children away. And we are doing that throughout the world with immigrants. Unfortunately, unfortunately, even my America, made of immigrants, has children be terrified that their parents will be taken away and they will be alone in the world. And the reason I'm doing this broadcast is to say, America, you are too valuable. You are too important. Don't let a future generation of children who need to grow up to make you be great as you are, don't let them be frightened. Because you are too valuable in the universe. America is a shining beacon of who we must become in other countries. Let my America be a pendant to carry of what they want to grow up to be like. Let the refugees become our workers, which they're begging to be. I love you all. Thank you for letting me speak. Bye-bye.